Most oftentimes that I see a sunburn, I ask the person, did they use sunscreen? And it is almost always, I used a spray sunscreen.
So we're talking about spray sunscreens. Obviously this is the time of year, year round people need sunscreen, but I see in everyone's pool bag, beach bag, the spray. What are the pros and cons? Just a quick rattle off. Is spray good, not good? What would you say as a dermatologist?
I think if used appropriately, used correctly, it's a great product. It's convenient, people like it. It's pretty contained, but I think the biggest challenge is using it correctly.
A lot of people think that they're using it correctly. Would you say, what do you think people assume, that they can just spray and go?
Most of the time, this is the time of year that we're doing skin checks galore. People are aware of their skin, it's summertime. The most often time that I see a sunburn, I ask the person, did they use sunscreen? And it is almost always, I used a spray sunscreen. So to answer your question about is that, no, I don't think everyone uses it correctly.
I mean, I would say, and again, to be devil's advocate, some spray sunscrreen is probably better than no sunscreen, correct?
100%.
I would guess.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, if you are not going to use the sunscreen, you're only going to use spray, use the spray.
Okay.
And we'll help you today to learn how to use it right.
Most people, when you do a lotion, it's very easy to tell the amount.
Right, the quantity. So typically you use about a shot glass size of a lotion or a cream for the entire body. With these sunscreens, the spray sunscreens, it's really hard to get that accurate quantity. And so most people are not using enough. And that's when we see the burns.
Got it. So not using enough. And what about rubbing it in? A lot of people think they can just spray it on and it'll settle in their skin.
So there's different spray sunscreen styles, and we can look at some of them with demo, but some of them are thicker and you really do want to rub them in. Those are the ones I like because they're thick. They're usually a mineral component to it. Some of the spray ones that are just alcohol-based, more chemical, they're thinner and they're hard to see that thickness, but you should see a sheen on you.
Okay.
But it's hard to quantify.
Yes, again, just because you see it doesn't mean necessarily you got the adequate amount, right?
Correct.
And what about the chemicals? We keep hearing about some of these are marketed to kids, but they say don't use spray sunscreen on kids. What are the concerns there?
So the concerns, I believe that these are meant to be used on the skin. They're not meant to be used on mucous membranes. They're not meant to be inhaled. And I think that that's the issue that we're seeing and what we don't know a lot about. So when children are using the products themselves, are they spraying their face? We don't want you to inhale. Are they wiggly when the parent's putting them on? There's a greater chance of breathing these products in, these chemicals that we don't really intend for them to be internal.
Okay, and that's the titanium, just so I know, that's the titanium dioxide, is that what it's called?
So there's two classes of sunscreens. There are the chemical blockers and the physical blockers. Mm-hmm. Many of them are mixed, so with chemical and physical. Those are your most broad spectrum. Some of the marketed ones for kids or sensitive skin are just the titanium or zinc oxide, which are inert physical blockers.
Okay, and that's what you don't want to actually inhale.
I think none of them we should be inhaling because they're really only tested for the skin.
Okay.
But in general, I wouldn't say an inert or a chemical substance, any of these products we should be inhaling. So you want to put them in well-ventilated, apply in well-ventilated areas.
Yeah,
okay,
no, that's okay. Yeah, so make sure, so that's why we always say to our kids, go outside, right? You don't want to be doing that in the house or in the bathroom.
Right. Where
they could suck it in.
So the main goal is, our main goal is use these correctly, don't inhale them, don't spray your face, put them on in an adequately ventilated room, but there was an article that came out of Australia in 2021 that said on just a typical low windy day on the beach, 79% of the sunscreen was lost to the air when applied in a normal fashion. So we know that in an even mildly windy area, today's really windy, so I wouldn't put it on today, but you lose a lot of product.
I mean, that's crazy, right? Because we saw, on the nozzle's pointed this way, so it's pointed at your screen, but the wind is picking it up.
Yeah.
I mean, that defeats the purpose.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the combination of well ventilated and not windy, it might be hard to find, but outside and in a covered area would be good. Yeah.